Hey, everybody. Before we start episode 228, I just had to take a moment to tell you guys that I made a glaring error in this episode. And while I was editing, it was driving me nuts. So I assume it's going to drive all you nuts. And that is, I said mesosaur when I meant mythosaur. Why I got that confused, I have no idea. But before my fellow Boba Fett fans take me to task on it, I figured I would just give everyone a heads up. And in any case, here's episode 228. Hopefully that doesn't drive you nuts too much. I said other things that'll probably drive you nuts. But anyway, enjoy the show, everybody. You're listening to the Cantina Cast, your home for thought-provoking Star Wars talk. Join Mike and Albert each week as they break down the latest news, trailers, movies, and of course, all your favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away. Hello, everybody, and welcome to, I don't know if I'm going to actually name this episode 228, but it probably is 228, or it's going to be the solo bonus episode number 2 on the trailer or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Whatever happens with the title. You'll know what it is. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, and I'm rambling. But anyway, Albert, Jonesy, welcome to the show. We had a bit of a little bit of a trailer thing that dropped over the weekend, which was actually kind of weird that this happened on Saturday night. You know, Albert was off in the woods, I don't know, just doing woodsy things. I was kind of jealous. Yeah, exactly. Contemplating all things The Last Jedi and stuff. But, I didn't expect this to be around. They said, oh, tomorrow we're going to drop the trailer or whatever. I'm like, really? All right. So they dropped the trailer with American Idol, which I thought American Idol was off the air like 20 years ago. But hey, I'm old, and grumpy, so I don't know.
Brought it back.
Yeah, what?
You got to bring back the classics.
Exactly, yeah. But in any case, so I was actually, at the end of the trailer, I was surprised that they didn't announce the ticket sales. I think that was my biggest surprise because I figured that would be coming too. I was ready to do that. And good thing for you, Albert, because you might have missed out, but maybe not because, there's a lot of people boycotting. So you probably would have got a seat. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into this, guys. So I don't know. Where do you want to start, guys? I guess we can just go right through the images as we go down. That's typically how we do it. But, we can jump around if you guys want. So I guess the opening shot is Corellia because it looks like the shipyard there. And then the next shot, you see the little space rat kind of moving along on the wires there. And you see an incomplete Star Destroyer, I take it? That's what it looked like to me. I don't know. Jonesy, is that how you saw it?
Yeah, it's exactly what I saw. And what's cool is the bridge is, I think, being hoisted up.
It's moving up.
Oh, okay.
It looked like it was actually moving.
Yeah.
So
I see that.
That was cool.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
it reminds me of the
like
Lego sets. Like, I need to connect that piece to that piece right there.
Yeah, where's the handle at? Yeah.
I think in the shot before, too, it looks like there's something floating. I don't know if those are fully assembled Star Destroyers or if those are more pieces. I don't know if you caught that, like in the top right-hand corner.
I can see. It looks like the bottom. Yeah, it looks like the bottom part. I don't know about the left-hand corner. I'm not too sure what that could be, but it is definitely the shipyard. That actually reminds me of Revenge of the Sith when they're going to take off there. Kind of reminiscent of that.
I kind of thought it looked a little bit like the industrial area from Attack of the Clones during the speeder car chase.
Oh yeah,
not exactly, but it just reminded me of that kind of industrial warehouse kind of district thing.
Yeah, well, Corellia seems like a dark and dirty place because I imagine the next shot where we get the guys hanging around the fire is like when we first. Yeah, well, that's me, you, and Jonesy right there contemplating the next episode. So that's the canon right there. I don't know which one I am.
That's exactly how these shows get put together. We all stand around a dumpster fire and just start being mad about things.
This show is a dumpster fire anyway, so, But I think Albert... go ahead.
Someone brought up in our Discord, that does look like an R2 unit, though.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that is
I think it is. You're right.
Now. Yeah, it looks like it with all the... It's actually Chopper. No, I'm only kidding. Obviously, different time era.
No, he's taller than Chopper.
Yeah, but obviously this is, him in the slums of Corellia here going to find a job, I assume, or some kind of a mischief because he's walking and then they open the door thing and we see that shot that we've seen before or something like that. That's what I assume. I don't know. What do you guys assume there? Anything?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it almost looks like he's been captured or maybe he's going up to some kind of a speakeasy hideout thing where they've opened the thing.
Well, that's what I was assuming. Yeah, like a cantina.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, to do some card gambling. Yeah, go ahead, Jonesy.
Looks like he's been roughed up a little bit. Yeah,
a little bit.
True.
So yeah, tough. Yeah, it's tough to tell exactly where this is going to be at.
Or is this after the chase and he kind of just goes and...
Yeah, if he around 10 seconds in, you can see the clothes too. I mean, he looks like he doesn't have a jacket on or anything like that. So it looks like he's a bit more, I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Fast casual.
No, that could be it. All right. So now we get the big space cloud gang. I think that's what they're calling them. They're swoop gang, I guess, I believe.
Oh, the Cloud Riders.
And we have, the Cloud Riders, and we got Emphiness. I think that's how you say her name. And it's a female. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tongue twister. You know me with names, people. I can't pronounce names. So anyway, but what do you think of these cast of characters? I don't see any that really stand out to me. The guy with the giant red carpet thing on his head, I don't know what that's all about. But I don't know. What do you think of these guys, Jonesy?
I mean, it kind of works with a gang. It's kind of a ragtag group. So I kind of like it. I want to know more about this character, though, because I got to be honest, I think the design's pretty sweet looking.
Well, this is when she's saying, what are you looking for? And she says revenge. I'm wondering if this is the person that maybe killed Han's dad, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting to think that he would go and seek revenge. Maybe it's his dad and he kills his dad. I don't know. Well, actually, that would be his mom because it's a woman, right? But I don't know. What do you think, Albert?
So I don't know. This could be all jumbled around, but it looks like he's got that DL-44 at that point, right?
Yes, I don't think he gets it when he throws it to when Becker throws. Yeah, I don't think that. I think he takes it from Han to become part of the gang. Like he, takes his weapon away from him and gives it to him after. I think Han has had this weapon, but that's just my speculation. But
well, that would be kind of, I don't want to say cliche, but I mean it'd be kind of cool. But there's too many. I don't want too many of these. Oh, look, here's how he got this, and here's how he got that kind of thing. But if it is a revenge thing, I mean, he's got the blaster, then, I mean, I guess you could assume that it's, he's getting revenge for Beckett if he's dead at this point. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know where this all kind of lines up. But going back to the character design of Emphiness, I think she's one of the coolest looking characters they put out in a while.
Oh, yeah. She was interesting before because I remember we were talking about it because we tried to figure out the lettering on her. And it was kind of a mishmash of Arabic and something else.
Well, I mean, I think we talked about it in one of the shows where it's not really Arabic. So it was, and it was confirmed, I think, that it was a whole new language that was created for that particular helmet. And I don't see, when we talked about this last time, I could have sworn there was one character in the far right that looked like Bosch.
Yeah, it doesn't seem.
But I don't see it doesn't look now, so maybe it's just now it looks clearer, or we've got a different angle or something. But I don't see that same one.
Well, I guess
it's the one right there, the third one over from the right.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and it doesn't look that way. It's hard to tell from that angle. And then, of course, we got a close-up look of the blaster, and then Emphiness. I think I'm saying that's still wrong. Yep. It's got a very interesting. Thank you, Albert. I'm glad you confirmed that with me. But she's got an interesting melee weapon. I'm curious how that works. I don't know, Jonesy. What do you think of this interesting character? And I don't know. It reminds me of something I've seen in the '80s. And Albert, you might have to jump in with the pop culture basement references.
No, this is very Mad Max type of
maybe that's where
styling.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, the whole outfit, the whole mask design. And I'm trying to remember. I mean, and maybe it's a reminiscent of a starfighter that has these kind of wings coming out of the backside. It's got the two metal plates coming out. And what was it? Maybe the V wing I'm thinking of, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this mismatch of thing. It is very Mad Max-ish is the feeling I got from this whole gang, and the weapon in particular is really intriguing. Is it like a vibro type of thing, or does it have a blaster as part of it? I mean, it looks like it's got a ventilation chamber there, but tough to tell. But I like the design though; that's really cool, and I like the kind of the hover tank helmet in particular. That's always a great design too. But the modifications are pretty neat.
Yeah, and then the next shot, of course, we got Han. It looks like they're looking at each other here, where it's a close up of Han and Chewie's next to him, and the background looks very similar to that Mad Max marketplace where they are. Maybe Ray's in the background. Maybe that was Jakku. I don't know. No, I'm only kidding. But I get the feeling that this is like what she was saying. You're looking for revenge, and this might be the revenge. But I could be completely wrong. But that would be very interesting, to say the least. But I guess we'll move on to the cool shots, which is when Han goes into this. I want to say, I don't know what you could call this. It's obviously it's on that snowy planet. I think with what looks like a giant mesosaur skull, where they walk in, which makes me think: are they on actually that planet that's near Mandalore, that the snowy planet that they go on. I forget the name of the planet at the time here, but I don't know. It's pretty interesting with the cast of characters. We got these two worm things. I don't even know what they are, but all I can think of is the two worms that were in Attack of the Clones, but they're obviously not the same thing. But I don't know. What do you guys think of Han actually meeting up with Lando? This is obviously the first time they encounter each other. Or, Albert, could your theory be true, what you said on episode 227, which was technically before we recorded this and before the trailer? Is this them playing the crowd, so to speak? I don't know. What do you think?
I think now, having seen this, I don't like that theory so much. I think it's probably just legit where, she tells him, or Kira tells him about Lando. This is his first meeting with him. And they're obviously going to get into a game. I don't see any dice on here, so maybe that's a little bit later, like I said in the last show. But there's some pretty cool. This is a really cool shot, I thought, altogether. Even all the characters. I mean, come on, you got Therm Scissor Punch right there to the right of him.
Therm doesn't look as bad as initially thought, because this is a clear image of him now. But continue, sir. Is that Rex over there? Old man Rex right there. No.
Maybe.
Keep going.
This is where Kira says money, because she's asking the questions. You're after something. So first we had revenge. Now this is the money, and then we get the shot of. Well, I don't want to jump ahead too far because I think there's other characters in here that are interesting, but we get that one shot of the coinage, and we get the little
Mando.
the Mando Boba Fett symbol on one of the coins. So that's kind of a.
Well, we'll throw it in here now, because when I found out about that, I was actually looking all over for, maybe hints of Boba Fett in the background, and that didn't happen at all, which isn't a bad thing. I would like him to appear at some point, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think he'll show up? We can jump into it right now. We might as well.
I'm still hoping he does, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of think maybe he's going to be just in the background, maybe of a passing type of thing.
Is that, well, because here's the thing. If I like that idea, because I like, if this movie is somewhat successful, at least in the minds of Lucasfilm and Disney, that they'll do, like I've mentioned the last couple of times, because you got to think with Donald Glover as Lando, you'd want to see him do that again. So you'd want to continue this into a trilogy, a solo trilogy. Maybe the next one will be Lando, but it's, kind of tied together or whatever. And you get the hint that maybe Jabba and maybe even Boba Fett are in the background, and maybe that appears in the second one or the third movie or whatever it could be. I don't know. Jonesy, more input on this. What do you think?
Well, and I remember back to Phantom Menace, I think it was Aurra Singh, right? That was out on the dunes on Tatooine. And so I liked that idea where these characters exist and they're aware of one another, even if they don't have a reason for their paths to cross entirely quite yet, or for something to be roughly connected that doesn't quite exist yet. So, but yeah, I something like that you have a lead in for another opportunity. Just to what you said, I'd like to see that.
Although I tend to think it's going to be, he isn't really going to show up. Although in my mind, if you're going to continue it, and of course there was rumors of Vader showing up, it would be cool if like the train that they're robbing or whatever the job is, it turns out to be an important Imperial thing, and then Vader hires a bounty hunter, and he happens to hire Boba Fett at the end of the movie, and that'll be the next movie that we have, Solo number 2, I guess, episode 2, whatever you want to call it. And maybe that's kind of how Fett and him get their rivalry and whatnot. That would be interesting if that happens, but I don't really see. I think maybe the money thing was just a nod to, the possibility of, hey, Fett's kind of tied in here somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't add him. I mean, that's the other thing, Albert, is putting him in there kind of just fan service? Should they do it, or for the sake of doing it, or you think? Well, I guess if they use him right, it's
that's
correct.
Exactly
then,
what I was
right?
going to say. If they use him right, and it's not just a gimmick or like you said, fan service, which I don't think they're. I think they're probably above doing that at this point with the writing. So I would expect them. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing him more than just in the background or a name drop. I'd actually like to see a significant, even if it's like 10, 15 minutes of just something where he's an integral plot piece or plot element, or crossing paths or something like that. I think that's what I would like to see from Boba Fett, and you could still lead into another movie or spin off later down the road, because we know he's obviously going to survive this. And same goes for Vader. I know he's been rumored to be in the movie more than just a cameo or a quick passing kind of thing. So I don't know. I'd like to see both of them in the action movie.
Yeah, but to your point earlier too, Albert, I'm concerned. I'm a little bit concerned about, is this going to be a movie of firsts of trying to explain every little thing? And I think that's something that we talked about maybe a month or more ago, was if we lay out every single first that Han has, and I mean, and now with the blaster scene in particular, while I like that scene, you know, it's kind of starting to look like, okay, we're going to explain every little thing, or we're going to have every little tie-in. And Boba Fett's one of those. And I have a general question about Boba Fett. Is it canon now that they actually have a long-standing rivalry, or is that
actually it was
just
never
what we're used to?
No, because we even before a while ago, like a year ago, we discussed it. Where it was hinted at in the old EU and everything, but it was never really established too much of that big rivalry.
Yeah, people kind of ran with it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was more like a in our heads type of thing.
And I think the EU did. I think the EU did play that up, though.
Oh yeah.
But I just want to make sure my head was straight here, because I don't think anything in the established canon now has had any kind of relationship between those two besides what we've seen in the movies. And the movies don't really
show it.
Even hint at a long-standing relationship there either with Vader and Han Solo as well.
I think there was a lot of most of that speculation stems from Return of the Jedi when he says Boba Fett. He's obviously well aware of who he is, and he almost has this look of oh crap on his face, even though he can't see him. So I think that's where we, as fandom, we really kind of tied the two together and said, okay, they've obviously got a lot of history here. If he's able to, if that's able, the name alone is enough to conjure those feelings from Solo.
Or exactly. So I don't know, but
anyway, long story short, I don't need an origin story for every little thing. So
how about the scar?
I'm kind of on the other side of the coin. I don't necessarily need to see it.
The scar on the lip, is that or under the chin? Is you need an origin for that too?
We have that. We already have that in the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Well, I'm like one of the few people that thinks that seems like okay.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do it all now, just to aggravate the two of you. Just Just because I would love to see
here's where he got the vest, and here's where he got the pants.
Well, I got a theory on that vest stuff, and I'm going to disclose it later on.
He was a much better sewer than Poe to do the stripes.
Well, yeah, because when you get over into the next shot where they're coming upon the Falcon here, and you see Han and Chewie there, it looks like he's got Lando's jacket here, which plays into a theory I have. I'll get into in a minute. And we see Chewie next to him at the Falcon here. And I don't remember in the first trailer, Chewie wasn't involved in this scene, right? Like they digitally add him after or something? I don't know. What say you, Jonesy?
Sorry. You didn't call me.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Either one. I don't really care.
I don't think I think it's just the angle, or it just could have been just a different shot. I think he was probably in that original one, and maybe they didn't use the angle because they wanted Chewie in this one. Or maybe they're not completely related at all. Or is it a different take?
Yeah, might have been a different take. But your thoughts, Jonesy?
Yeah, what I'm starting to see, though, this trailer does not really hint that this is the first meeting of Chewbacca and Han Solo, though.
Oh, no, this is after the fact. This is after.
Right, but I'm curious if we're going to come into this and they already have somewhat of a relationship or something. For him to have to meet a bunch of people like that is kind of, I don't know if that's something that they'll have the time to do and really develop those relationships.
I think there's a scene later in the trailer when we get to it. I'll kind of point it out, but I think there's a scene later where we have our first appearance of Chewbacca, or at least when they first meet. And there's a reason why I think that's the case. But hang on tight.
I have a theory on all of this because I think it's kind of predictable how it's going to go, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's fun and predictable. From what I gather, this is just a trailer. You know, I like the Last Jedi trailer, and we all know how that turned out for me. So. You know, it's just, how I feel about the trailer anyway. But anyway, let's get into go ahead.
Well, but what I like, and we're going to talk about it later too, is the look that Han gives in this scene, as well as when he's on the bridge. You have this just instant love connection with the ship.
Yeah.
And that really comes across for me. Like you can actually see that he is like, wow, yeah, this is pretty cool. And I don't know if it maybe is his first opportunity to maybe pilot a ship or even be involved, or if it's just love at first sight. With the Falcon and its 3 brains.
Well, that's what it was in Legends. Like in the Legends stuff, and I forget what book it was, when they talk about him first seeing the Falcon, it was like, love at first sight, head over heels. Like he was just enamored by the ship inside and out. And then when he was able to pilot it and, was able to understand what it's capable of doing, I mean, it was just like a wealth of opportunity. Just, his mind just ran wild. So this, I think you're exactly right. At least they're carrying that over from the Legends series.
Now, my question is, going forward from here, like in the Return of the Jedi and New Hope and everything, there's 3 brains on the Falcon here. And I'm just curious because they mentioned how they liked R2 and the dirty jokes and everything. I don't remember them saying how they felt about Han. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe they did say it and I just fell asleep at that point in the book or whatever. But I'm just wondering if I wonder how you got to give Han and Chewie credit for putting up with the three brains without really having a droid on board. I don't think they had one anyway. That's so I got to give them credit. That shows how good of a pilot he was, and even Chewbacca. And we'll get into that in a moment. But well, let's get into Kira here because I liked how she talked to him, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. What are your impressions? I'm actually more impressed now that we have something about her other than those images and the few shots we had in the original trailer. But Jonesy, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, she's given a little bit of attitude, so clearly establishing that they know each other, right? But tough to tell where it's going, though. So
yeah,
maybe they don't have a relationship. I don't know. I'm a little confused.
Yeah, well, it is one of those.
I think the where it says where she says you look good, a little rough around the edges. I think this is obviously now a flash or further in the story,
like a reconnection.
So they probably haven't seen each other since they were younger or teenagers or whenever it was that we had some of the other footage from the first trailer.
Yeah,
or maybe they're on the mission already.
Maybe it's a possibility. We'll see about that. But Han had to go to her to find out about Lando. I think maybe that's why he went to her or something. I'm not sure how that works out just quite yet. Even though I said it was predictable.
I think we were right though about her. Like their paths kind of going in different directions. It looks like she, either I don't know if she had money to begin with or whatever she did. She looks to be well off, whereas he's the scruffy looking nerf herder guy that's down this path of being a smuggler or, finding oddball jobs. And the other thing too, sorry, just kind of when I'm thinking about this now, like we know he wanted to join the Imperial Navy and then, he almost looks conflicted later on. I don't want to jump ahead, but like I really I'm intrigued about how much they're going to give us of here's where he wanted to go. Here's where he is. And are we going to get a lot of the in between and what really kind of steered him from one path to the other?
Well, I imagine the opening is him and Kira doing that run where they're getting chased and causing hell. And then we see him going to that, where he's either in prison or he's going to that, where the three of us were arguing over what the show's going to be about and stuff. And then from there, it jumps over to him being in the I guess something goes wrong there. And he goes to the Imperial Academy there. And then, he goes to the spice mines of Kessel, I assume, and sees what's happening with the Wookiees. And he frees Chewbacca and they go from there. That's how I'm assuming that goes. And then they do their thing and, from there. But I don't know. Any other thoughts of the scene here where they're at this fancy, I guess it's a canteen or a club or something. I'm not sure. There's more shots of it because then we get the next shot, which Chewie and Kira, I don't remember them being in the original shot in the first trailer here. And poor Chewie.
He's carrying the baggage.
Carrying the bags.
What's up with that?
Well, he's got the life debt after Han saves him at the thing. So this is serious business with Wookiees, man.
God, you're not the pack mule, though.
Well, that is true. But, he's more of a Charmin, I guess.
Damn, and he doesn't even get a medal later on.
Yeah.
He gets the
This deal's getting worse all the time.
Well, he still tells him to, attend shut. He gets the final word there. So, it's not all bad for Chewbacca, all right? But anyway, and plus he's 190. I mean, big deal.
Hey, don't skip ahead. Don't skip ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. But
so
anyway.
is that a ship? So is that a ship on the right-hand side, though?
I don't know if it's a ship or if it's just like it looks like a giant tower thing. Like it's not
I thought it was like a lookout post at first, but now the more I stare at it, almost looks like forward guns and
a giant tower thing.
Potentially like a ship.
Yeah, thanks, Albert. I thank you. I'm pointing out the worst description of something ever.
You are a wordsmith.
I was thinking more of like a turbine, maybe, like a wind at the top, does currents on the bottom, generates power, electricity. I don't know.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like it's connected.
Or giant tower thing, whatever.
Well, it doesn't look like it's connected to the next scene with Beckett here. Because, I mean, it's probably the same planet, but it doesn't look like it's in the same vicinity. You know what I mean?
This scene throws me off with the other one, too, with like Enfys Nest and the Cloud Rider. They seem to be like all related, but then like, how do they, I don't know. I don't really get how they would be connected.
Yeah, and is this Han and Kira and Chewie bringing the loot to whoever at the end here? Is that...
maybe...
Is that what that's why Chewie's doing this thing here? I don't know. It's interesting to say the least. But what do you think of Beckett? Because I am a big fan of Beckett now. Like I like what he had to say and what he had to do and whatnot. I don't know. What are your first impressions of Beckett. Well, of course, we'll get into it a little bit more. But Jonesy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm liking where he's going. It's not too much. It's not too Woody Harrelson, I guess. I mean, it's definitely him, right? But I kind of like it. I mean, there's not a lot to go on, but I like the idea. I like the one, the quotes that he's given us too. So
that's for sure. Albert, what do you think?
He's changed for me. Like initially, I thought he was kind of like this, like the shady character, and then I didn't really know where he was one way or the other. And now, having seen this trailer, I'm starting to lean towards he really is a mentor, someone that Han's going to look up to. Probably even cares for Han, or at least is probably a good. I mean, he's a smuggler,
well, you say
gambler
that.
kind of thing, or whatever. But he seems like he's not a crook and doesn't seem like he'd backstab people. But then he has that line later on, so I don't know who's to say.
Yeah, the line later on, which seems like foreshadowing.
Which is kind of reminds me of Hondo, where Hondo is always double crossing whoever he's with. Anyway, it's the pirate way, right?
Hey, he never stole from someone he didn't like.
Exactly. So it's kind of like that. So I think that I like this line, what he said, and you'll never be disappointed. And he's actually kind of right. But in any case.
Well, he lays it out. He lays it out. Once you're in this, you're in it for good. So I'm curious to see what that actually means in the context of the movie.
Yeah, that will be interesting, because I'm wondering if he betrays him at the end, and if he's like a father figure, and then we get to episode 2 of this whole trilogy. If they do a trilogy and he kills Beckett, it's almost like mirroring, the father-son thing. But anyway, we'll move on to the bad guy here, who is rumored to be Snoke now.
Oh, what?
And that's Voss. Yeah, with the face scars. Yeah, they think he's
You talking to Crowley again?
No, I'm not. Actually, Steele made a joke on his Instagram that this was Snoke, and I laughed, and he laughed, and we all laughed, and stuff like that. But obviously, no, he's not Snoke. I don't think, but you never know. It looks like Kylo Ren's behind him, if you ask me. If you look, that mask looks like Kylo Ren. I don't mean to throw gas on the fire, but I'll just leave it at that.
But the design of this club is similar to that one we saw in the earlier scene with Kira and Han, though.
Yeah, I think that's where it is, actually, if you ask me, because when he gets that, well, we'll get into that in a minute, with that fancy thing that he lights up there and stuff like that. I think it's a fancy club, so to speak. It's more like a nightclub, maybe a jazz type club, I guess, on Corellia or something. I'm actually curious if it's on Corellia or if it's somewhere we don't even know.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
Who knows? It could be anywhere.
Yeah, I'm guessing they probably travel a little bit by now.
Oh, yeah, I assume. And of course, then we see this is where Han, we get introduced to the flying, and the line where he says he's a driver and he's a pilot and all these fancy things. And this is like, I think this is earlier in the movie where we see Kara and him flying the thing. Yeah.
Because that's the same outfit he's wearing when he looks like he's behind the bars.
Correct.
In the scene we looked at already. Yep.
Yeah, so I assume that's earlier in the movie. And then we get to, I assume he was a mud trooper on Kessel. I want to say the Spice Mines, because he's talking to an Imperial here. I don't know who the Imperial is, but he's talking to someone saying, I'm a driver and I'm a pilot. And, then of course we see the scenes where he's flying around on Corellia, and then, the other stuff with the heist and that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, Albert, on these next few sequences here? So you can run through them if you want. Just go through them.
Wait, let me go back real quick to Paul Bettany's character, which is the big-time gangster, I guess that they say.
Oh, yeah,
go ahead. His face is all scarred.
That's why the Snoke thing came up.
Is that where that came from?
Yeah, that's where we were. That's and the Kylo Ren mask behind him.
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay. Does that make sense now?
Makes sense.
But go ahead.
I was going to mention when he says, I'm a driver, like if you look at his face and the way he moves his head, it almost looks like he's trying to do a kind of a Harrison Ford, Han Solo look. Did you guys get that at all?
Well, actually, I was going to say, I think he's got his mannerisms down, like Han's quirkiness.
He's trying. I can see it. I don't know. Maybe it's me, but maybe not even. I'm
not convinced he can.
No. I'm not saying that.
Well, the voice, and even Donald Glover. I mean, this is the hard part of this, is they're two iconic characters that are beloved jumping into this role. And the problem is we got a lot of us that have, we all grew up with Han and Harrison and Billy D and Lando. We know how they sound. We know their mannerisms by heart. So I give these guys credit for trying this. I don't know if it's going to, we almost, and I've said this before on the show, well, we got to take that out of that element out. We got to suspend that. We got to block that out and just kind of enjoy their performances and their take on what those characters are. We can't, I know it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me And I think Alden has the movements down, and I think Donald Glover has the swagger. I'm interested to see how it carries out throughout the film. I mean, these little shots here, yeah, they're pretty good, but that's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
sir.
that I can see him trying at least. And again, I don't think there's no way he's going to live up to trying to replicate that character in any way. So just get that out of your head. You're going to enjoy the movie immensely just from that alone. But just the way he says that particular line, the way he delivers that line, and maybe not Han Solo like Harrison Ford doing Han Solo, but if you think of some of the other characters that Harrison Ford's played, that head movement that he does when he says that line, I'm probably putting way too much emphasis on it. But anyways, it just stuck out to me like, oh, he's kind of channeling some of the body movements and the deliveries that Harrison Ford's done in the past. And then he goes into that where he says, I'm a flyer. If you look over to the right, we finally get that shot of the Cloud Riders. It looks like it's the Cloud Riders, which would be interesting because later on, so that means we've got like basically the Cloud Riders, we've got, Beckett and his team, and then we've got the range troopers as well. So it's like a little triangle battle going on here as part of this train heist, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Jonesy?
Yeah, in the scene where he's talking to the Imperial officer, you also see he's wearing like this black body, almost like body armor or something like that too. So he's definitely got a costume change in here of whatever they're doing.
Well, yeah, this is where I think this is when he's at the moment of freeing Chewbacca. I get the feeling like he's a mud trooper, which would be fitting for Han when you think about him being in the Imperial Navy or whatever. This is what he'd end up with, is a mud trooper. I'm guessing. I could be completely wrong, but it looks like, from what I've seen with the Hasbro stuff and a few other things, this looks like that, makeshift kind of armor, if you ask me. But
I thought those looked more brown or brownish though, instead of, this is black.
Well, it looks brown to me. It's just dirtier because they're on the Kessel here. So I could be wrong. I mean, but it's interesting. Well, it'd be curious to see if we get any more going forward. But continue, Jonesy.
No, that's all I had before we started getting to the next scene.
Oh, well, what do you guys think of the chasing here? Well, again, we get the swoop bike, the Cloud Gang, and we got, Han and his thing. I'm wondering if Han and Beckett are at like odds here as well. Because if you know what I mean? Like, it seems like they all double crossed each other at the end here. I wonder if Lando's even around at this point, or Lando is just like when he wins the ship and all that stuff, or he lets Han borrow the ship. I'm not sure how that works out in the end. But
he says he won the ship fair and square.
Well, true, but that might be at the end of the movie.
Which I have a theory about.
You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sure you do,
we'll get
sir,
to that in a
as
second.
many others. All right, well, let's get into the whole meeting of the gang before the heist, where obviously Beckett throws the blaster back, the DL-44 there, and throws it back to Han. And of course, he kisses it before he gives it to Han.
Why does he kiss it though?
I don't know. Maybe for luck. And then you got Val, who looks like the most. I wouldn't want to mess with Val at all. She's very angry for some reason. Maybe she saw The Last Jedi. I had to get one in. I'm only kidding. I'm kidding. I know. It's horrible. I'm an awful man. But anyway.
Well, I'm kind of wondering.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of wondering if Han doesn't have a blaster, maybe they don't trust him to have one until this point.
Well, that's, yeah.
Because he kind of smirks when he gets it too.
Yeah, because I think maybe they know that he killed Emptiness with it in the gang. Oh, no, that wouldn't make sense because we see them later on, right, with the swoop bikes. So maybe she gets killed, but maybe not the gang. I don't know. That's interesting, though.
This kind of things. I kind of think that this is maybe Han's finally getting accepted a little bit into the group, but they're still in that kind of forming stage of the team.
Yeah,
and so Val is like, no, this guy's a clown.
yeah. The impression I got is Val doesn't trust him one bit. Which
I don't think she trusts anything.
Yeah, well, maybe Beckett. That's about it. And
dude, that gun is serious too, man. She's got stuff like taped to her shoulder and arm coming from it.
Oh, yeah. It looks like it's like, got a bit of Bane from Batman in there and stuff. I don't know. I don't want to mess with her. I'll say that. But Albert, what are your thoughts on the gang getting together before the heist?
Looks good. I think you guys are all spot on, honestly. I got all the same stuff in my notes in terms of like no one really trusting everyone. This is kind of they're about to go and they're kind of taking a gamble on this kid that they've just recruited or whatever. So,
yeah. All right. Well, what do you do now? The next scene is, I like this next scene. It is funny.
I love it.
And I think he nailed the mannerisms here again. I don't know about the voice so much. I got to, again, get it out of my head that it's not Harrison Ford. But I don't remember Chewie's head being that enormous. Is it just me? Or does it seem like Chewbacca is just a giant? I mean, he's big, but I don't remember his head being that big. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
He's got to be
I did
sitting
enjoy
down because.
Well, yeah, he is obviously.
Yeah, because he's only like. He's not even a foot taller than him in this scene.
Yeah, I'm just saying his head looks very Bigfoot-like. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Jonesy?
I think he looks all right. I'm not.
No, I mean, it's Chewie.
Out of place.
I mean, Chewie, I think, might steal the whole thing here. I mean, I like Chewie with the goggles. Yeah, sure, they did it so you could buy an action figure with goggles on. But, I think he looks cool.
Actually, that's the only scene I think he does look weird, is with all of his hair blown back, you can actually see the facial sculpt, and it's very odd looking to me. But
I'll have to check that out when we get to that point. But I actually like their dynamic here, where we actually finally see their beginning.
The dynamic is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if Chewie's actually saying he's got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, because,
I'm curious if this is going to be the scene where they sneak it in again, like they did Last Jedi, where you don't even know it.
Yeah, that's true. Which would be fine because, Han's saying, yeah, well, what do you know? I thought that was very much
perfect.
Yeah, that was Star Wars comedy right there. That's kind of how it goes. And I don't know, Albert, what say you? Because you love the comedy stuff. So what do you think?
Yeah, I was chuckling when that line, just like you said, the way it is delivered, and you got Chewbacca being stoic as ever the entire time. So
yeah. And then of course now we're on that again. This is where the mesosaur. It looks like a mesosaur skull, which I have to imagine it is. Which would be for that type of where the crowd they're going and stuff. This looks like this. Actually reminds me of the place where Indiana went to see Marion there for the piece there, the medallion. When I don't know, for some reason I'm just thinking of that, but I don't know. What do you guys think of this fancy location? Is this on like near Mandalore? Is that why we see the skull there, and then we see maybe the money with the Mandalorian thing on it? I don't know, Jonesy. What do you say? Because we got quite the kooky kind of cantina thing when you were walking in here. When I look in the next scene, I don't know. What say you?
No, I really don't know what to make of it.
The giant skull.
Someone's hideout. Yeah, it's a giant tusk.
Mammoth.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's a mammoth. Yeah. It's a woolly mammoth. That's what it is.
But yeah, like what's inside? Yeah, unclear.
I thought it was I don't know. My headcanon says it's the place where Lando's at. Like this is the actual gambling place.
Oh yeah, that's how I took it. But I'm wondering if this is near Mandalore, like the planet that was on with Sabine and everybody. The snowy planet where Ahsoka went with what's his face there. I can't think of his name at the moment. But my daughter loves him. I can't remember his name. But in any case, I don't know if it's that planet where, because they have the I think it's the meso skull there, and then you got the the chip with the money with the Mandalorian symbol on it. So I don't know if that's maybe a satellite location. I don't know. They haven't really named this planet. Did they name all the planets? I'm not sure yet. But
no, we've only got like 2, I think. But then next shot show it. I mean, at least if the way they string these shots together, it makes you think that, okay, that's the outside. Now we get the interior. And if you look at the lighting,
it doesn't mean it is.
No, it doesn't.
Yep.
It doesn't.
And he doesn't have a jacket on.
Yeah.
And Kira's with them.
In the, yeah, that's true. This might be even earlier in the scene. Like this is, Chewbacca's
yeah, I think these are stitched. Yeah.
So it's hard to say. It's a trailer. They're going to stitch things together. It's not going to be, but I have to say he's got his hands on the buckle like Han would have walking around. So I got to give him credit. Like I said, I think he's got the mannerisms down quite a bit. And then we got the next shot where, Donald Glover's doing Lando hair with the jacket looking like a pimp and looking Mr. Cool here as the Falcon takes off. Now, did he lend the Falcon? Because he does that little head nod, like, why do I got a bad feeling I'm not going to see this ship again? So and maybe this is a bad sign because he lent the ship out and Han ended up falling in love with the ship and he loses the ship. I don't know. What say you, Jonesy?
Yeah, I kind of think this is where after he lost it and he's watching it blast off and they're off on their whirlwind adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Albert, we'll get into the scene here where they're playing cards. I'm not sure if they're playing cards or what they're actually doing at the table here, but there's a cast of characters. What say you on the characters? And I got to stop saying what say you. That's getting annoying now. But continue, sir.
Yeah, I mean it's the same characters. I like the little serving droid back there, but really what stood out for me in this scene is the line of everything you heard about me is true kind of thing.
Yeah, I did like that.
I mean that's
and then you get a nice
classic right there.
Yeah, and it's very Lando, and he even gets. I think again he gets the mannerisms down. And then of course you see Therm's scissor hand over there, so that's pretty cool. And I like the droid just pouring his drink there. Like Lando obviously rules the roost here.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if this is his headquarters or something like that. So I don't know. Jonesy,
I like the dynamic. I like the dynamic shift from where they're at within Empire and where they're at now. You got this feeling that, he used to be, I almost said the one we shouldn't say, but he's the man, right? So this is his heyday of being that underground smuggler type. And then he becomes, quote unquote, legitimate later on. So I like that we have this different dynamic of him to begin with. And hopefully we're actually going to be able to see what that really translates into. And yeah, so I hope we get a story out of this. And I hope they actually say a story so we can actually understand what they're talking about.
True. And hopefully this scene, Chewie's actually laughing at what he says to him. I don't know.
That looked weird. Yeah. Right. The audio didn't quite line up with the facial movements.
Yeah, so, I don't think they're strung together. I think those are two different pieces.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, right.
The very next scene, it's only on for this is like a split second, but it shows like Han and Kira walking up, and there's like that bright light. It almost like there's a pit down there, and there's like some kind of gladiator fight that people are betting money on.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if
I
you guys
see that.
That's what I got from it.
Yeah, I do. Because is that where L3 is fighting?
Yeah, that's what I was assuming. I thought these were actually probably pretty much related.
And is she fighting the guy from the dude from the cantina that gets his arm cut off? Is
Dr. Evazan?
The doctor that? Yeah, is that him? Because it looks like
that's what I thought, but I actually paused it. It's not him.
Yeah, no. I'm speculating. That's
Unless
what I do.
They want to retcon that, and that's how his face gets messed up, and he has to start doing all kinds of plastic surgery or something. But that would be way. I mean that. Now we've got him in this movie. We got him in Rogue One. Yeah. We've got him in Episode 4.
Now he's like Darth Maul, just turns up all the time. You can't kill him and stuff like that. But what do you guys think of the L3, the droid? I like. It's very spunky. I like it.
A lot of attitude.
Albert? Yeah, which is reminiscent of K2, but not quite. Maybe more deadly. I think.
Well, I'm curious to see what a female droid like that dynamic actually is. So that'll be very different.
True. I'm just wondering if she's more, because I don't think she's more like K2 was kind of sarcastic. I think she's more direct and just does her action and maybe kind of.
She seems like a loose cannon, like just a little too aggressive, almost like a little bit out there, a little spacey. Because then you got her. She's obviously very pissed off here in this scene, right? And then you got her like 2 minutes later. She's bipolar. She's like throwing signs up with Lando as they take off. It's like wow, she's kind of all over the place emotionally.
Yeah.
The thoughts and opinions of Albert Padilla do not represent the Cantina Cast podcast.
Oh, wow. Jonesy, you're doing the legal stuff for us now? I didn't know that.
Hey, we got to cover our
Maybe she was just turned up at the bar and that's why she's like this. And
could be.
A cup of coffee. She's fine.
All right. Well, I think now we get the next scene where, of course, Han is touching the Falcon there and kind of maybe falling in love. This must be before,
So is this... So if we had hand sex before, is this whole sex?
Yeah.
Whole sex.
Yes. Very fitting. Father, son, they got a thing for hand sex with objects, I guess. And I think this is the moment where he kind of falls in love with the ship. But I'm a little confused because Lando is kind of later in scenes with them. So I'm not sure how that works out. I mean, obviously when we see the movie, it'll be like, oh, all right, that makes sense now. But, and of course, then we get into the Beckett and explaining, people are going to give you a piece of it. Oh, well, what is it? Where you join this, you're in it for life and stuff like that. So obviously Han was sold on that and decided, yeah, I'm going to go and be a pirate here and a smuggler. And I'm very interested to see how their dynamic works, as Albert said. But we'll move on to the shot of the Falcon here with Lando and L3. And then again,
you skipped the epic shot of the engines though.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me.
I like it, man. There's actually blaster fire and stuff coming in the back of it. So clearly they're making a hot jump out.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's interesting.
I think it's just an interesting angle. I just think it's a great shot before you see him actually fire up to the blue.
Yeah, I'm curious where they are, though, because it's interesting. There's fighting going on in the background, and there's obviously some burning and stuff. So the Falcon's always taking off in the middle of bad things, right? So, I don't know, Albert. What say you on the scene? I'm sure you like the scene. I mean, it's a cool scene. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't think we had much to say.
I like the engines firing up that way because we've never really seen it, and it's a new take on it. So maybe that's pre-modification from Han or whatever. I don't know. It's probably hard to explain that. But can we go back just 1 second to the full shot of the Falcon, because this is this is the first time that we've actually seen the Falcon fully, at least in any of the trailers or footage. and it's still so it's not moving. But there's the front end of it. I don't know if that's spoiler, I guess, but we know that's the kind of the escape pod now, right?
Yeah.
So here's my kind of crazy theory. I would like to think this is headcanon, pure speculation, but I have a theory that at some point Han and Lando and Chewbacca and everybody are on here towards the very end. I'm guessing because they're going to have to lose this escape pod, right? So what if somehow he throws Han or Lando in that and jettisons him out to like some planet, not for to die or anything like that, but just to I don't know, get rid of him or somehow, or to ditch him or whatever, so he can take the Falcon. Because that would at least explain why he says you got a lot of nerve, have coming back here after what you pulled, kind of thing. Any theories there?
No,
like it? No.
I like that. Yeah. I like that idea. I like the idea of something like that. Yeah.
Maybe.
You got to have a reason for him to hold a grudge.
I mean, I do like the whole double crossing each other, but over time, I like Han says he wins it fair and square. I could see them disputing over the game that they were playing, but the whole, and I actually do like the idea of him having the ship, then, maybe Kara having the ship, then maybe Lando, like changing hands until someone finally actually wins it in an actually legitimate game and stuff, and going from there.
I was tying that theory to Beckett's comment about everyone's going to betray.
They'll betray you.
Right. And so the only one he's probably ever going to really truly trust is Chewbacca. So nothing's going to happen there. But everyone else, I can just see him shutting out completely. And if Han's just kind of there and he's looking at him going, hey, this guy's just baggage, at some point he's probably going to double cross me because he is a smuggler. He is a gambler. He's got a reputation. I need to cut my losses and get rid of him somehow, throw him in the escape pod, jettison him to a safe planet, and never have to see him again until suddenly he needs him, in Empire. And that's where we kind of get that. Now this kind of flies in the face if they're going to do, a second Solo movie or whatever else. And this would have to be the end. Well, not necessarily. I guess they could do that. Lando wouldn't be in any of the other ones at that point, though, I would assume.
Well, the only thing I'm going to say is obviously the Falcon's dirty if you look at it here. And it's not in the pristine condition that, Lando would have it in. So is this when Han gets his, like, the symbolism of, like, Han has it now, so it's just, like, it's going to be a mess now? I don't know. It's very curious to see how that goes about. But any other thoughts, sir?
No, let's get into the best line for me.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Get into it, sir.
Which is that one? This is the Lando line where they actually show in here. It says, "You might want to buckle up, baby."
I thought that was out of
what?
I didn't.
I wasn't a fan either.
Yeah, it was just kind of. I think it was a reach at this point because I don't think Lando would exactly say that.
If he's going to hold up a Colt 45, it might work.
That's true. He should pull one out of there. Yeah, he should.
Yeah, it's not. He has never. Has he ever said baby in any of the other movies?
Not. Well, we know him differently in Empire, right?
No, but I get the suaveness of it, but it was just a little too much of that.
I think it was a reach.
Yeah. I'm with Mike on this one.
Wow, look at that.
I'll stand alone.
Yeah, let's
I'll stand solo on this one.
No.
Good night, everybody. See what you did there.
Yeah. Goodbye. We're gonna fire you now for just saying that. But in any case, well, obviously, see, this is the curious thing because Chewbacca's not around. I imagine he's in the back seat or the back playing, the chess game there. Because then we see L3 and Lando taking off. Where they go, who the heck knows? I imagine maybe this is to that club. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to say, and I get a reason for that after. But what is your speculation, Jonesy?
Is this the scene where they do the salute?
Yeah, I think it's around.
I think it is.
I love that, and that is something that I would not mind seeing explained from Return of the Jedi when Han and Lando exchange it too, for it to have some meaning and actually kind of be clued in. I think that would be nice to get that little flavor of. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, clearly, I'm assuming that they've picked up the ship and now they're off to actually start the mission. So,
well, because I'm confused a little bit because it's funny because I did say it was a predictable movie, but Lando is kind of disappears at some point here, and of course now we get into the range troopers, which I think are pretty darn cool. And I was right. If you listen to episode 227, I did say the boots were like magnetic. And apparently that seems to be the case, which makes a lot of sense. Why the Empire feels the need to do that, I don't know. But I don't know. What do you guys think of this? Is this where Beckett dies? I dig his blaster. It's like a little sawed-off shotgun blunderbuss pirate type thing. And of course, he's got his goggles on there and stuff. But Jonesy, what do you think?
I'm assuming this is where Beckett bites it.
You do?
Yeah. it's just prime for it, right? He can fall off, he can get shot. I mean, a variety of things. He could
go up in that
pave the way
explosion.
for them to escape.
No, that's true.
I mean, there's a number of things that can happen. I mean, many of them are a bit cliche, but they all are fairly effective for moving the plot along and allowing him to make room for Han and the rest of the team to kind of grow too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Albert, what do you think? Because I get the feeling the chase scene is, it's kind of cliche. It's like the cowboy movie, with the chasing the train thing. But this looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. And if you look at it, there's like these sprockets on the front that are going on this track.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks pretty menacing. So I imagine someone's going to get eaten up by that whole contraption in the front there.
I think we're going to have a lot of like really cool shots.
Carnage?
Yeah, carnage almost, because we even, the trailer ends with the whole Chewbacca almost dying. We know he doesn't die, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a new dynamic to the traditional train heist, because really in a train heist, it's very one dimensional. The train's just going, right? And this one, you've got this thing spinning around and you've got, it brushing up against the mountains and all that. So I think we're going to see some pretty cool, stormtrooper deaths as usual from this.
Well, it's cool. And at a minute 23, you can actually see stormtroopers on the top and on the side.
They're all over the place, like ants crawling on it.
But there's
really
also, cool. I don't know if that's Beckett. I imagine it is. It looks like Beckett because he's leaning.
I think it's got gray hair.
He's leaning on him while they're shooting at him, and he's just happens to be on the right side there. So, I don't know how this is going to end, but it looks pretty. It's like a good new take on the whole, train heist, so to speak. And but then we get into.
Well, he's got a revolver, yeah.
Yeah, he's got that whole blunderbuss sawed-off shotgun-looking blaster thing, which is pretty cool. I see Beckett, the more I actually like his character. So I'm kind of excited to see how his character develops. And then, of course, we get the shot, again, of the Falcon landing on some planet. It looks like Kessel, I would imagine, because it's got that yellowish tint to it. Or is this not? Or is this
kind of pretty, actually?
Yeah, I mean, and it's
a nice shot, yeah.
Well, this is why,
good wallpaper.
Yeah, it would be a pretty good wallpaper thing. But I'm curious if this is like them going to Kessel and then landing, and then we see that other shot where it's all dirty and everything because it's Kessel, or it's something completely different. Because I don't think, obviously, this is not the snow planet at all, and I don't think it's Corilla. So I don't know what it could be. And then, of course, you see the shot of it flying in the air here, in the sky here, which is interesting. And then, of course, you got L3 and Kira, who's looking dressed to the nines, and kind of an interesting look here. So this is where go ahead.
That is an amazing costume design, though. That just pops out. But yeah, it totally looks like Imperial, like lady-ish.
Yeah, I wonder if she's impersonating an Imperial. That's, you know what I mean? Because I don't think this, like the cloud
or
shot.
Maybe true colors come out.
Yeah, like the cloud shot, and then them coming out here makes me think this is on the snowy planet and not the yellowish planet. I don't know, Albert.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it doesn't look the same. I'm curious as to why they show Lando next. Those shots seem like they're connected, and you got Lando there now when he's shooting something. So like he's under duress of some type.
Yeah, I wonder if this is at the end of the train heist, and this is where the betrayal. I don't know. It's just interesting how this. I'm wondering because there's a shot I'll get to in a minute where I think Lando's around, and if Kara's with him, it kind of ties into that. But we'll move on to the next shot.
I was just say that one last thing on the Lando. When they show Lando there, they have Beckett say everyone will betray you. So there's obviously, well, we know that's, we assume that's going to happen in some way, but maybe it's not Lando betraying him, but Han betraying Lando.
It would be an interesting take if that happened. And of course, then we get the ST Walker jumping, which I don't think we've seen the walkers jump. Of course, we couldn't see that in Return of the Jedi or Empire because the technology really wasn't there.
I got the feeling it was being dropped.
Oh, well, maybe. That could be it, too. I just took it
but
as...
You can see the back is still open, so it's very much like the ATRTs still in the Clone Wars.
It looks a little different than ATSTs.
Yeah, a little bit heavier now and a little bigger, but it's still got that seeming like an almost open cabin, though, still.
Yeah. Well, I assume this is the Mud Troopers here. Or
those look like Mud Troopers.
Or the Imperial that you saw earlier, something like that. But I imagine this is the point where on Kessel where they free the Wookiees or somewhat. I could be wrong here. And, of course, then we get Val shooting that crazy gun that I don't want to be on the other end of. Well, it looks like a harpoon now that I think about it. When I just looked at the
see the cord coming out.
It's probably part of that whole train heist scene, I would imagine.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get to the big the one that's got everyone talking. At least with these two here is Chewbacca with his. I think it's his wife. I don't know. Some people are saying it's Lumpy. I don't know. I'll throw it to you, Jonesy. What do you think?
I think it's his wife.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is I don't see Chewie's bandoliers.
No, I think this is right. This is one of those scenes I was talking about where I think we're getting our first shot of Chewbacca. This one, and then later on when he kind of like does that pseudo DDT to the stormtrooper, drops him on his head.
Yeah.
Those two scenes are, I think, this one is afterwards, but I think this is part of that whole life debt thing that he's got, and he's going to have to just say goodbye to his wife, even though as heartbreaking as obviously it is in the scene. And then maybe, well, I don't know how old Lumpy is. Can we just talk about Lumpy for a second? But
of course.
But maybe this is, maybe she's pregnant with child at the time, which would be like really crappy if you think about it, because he's just going to have to leave his wife and his kid.
Well, they got the holiday special to reunite.
True. Yeah, we do get that back a little bit later.
Yeah. I hope we don't get subtitles.
Yeah. No.
I'm serious. I hope we don't.
No, I do. It'd have to be a short scene though, because I don't want a replay of the first 20 minutes of the Christmas holiday special, or the holiday special where it's just, Wookiees constantly talking and you don't know what the heck they're saying the entire time.
Well, I'll say this. The Last Jedi at least is better than the holiday special. See? I got something nice to say. But anyway. But yeah, I definitely think it's his wife, and I think this is... Because it's funny, because the battle's still going on at this point. When you look, there's like laser bolts going by them and whatnot, so the battle's still going on. It's not like it's like, hey, we're Wookiees, we can have a moment of headbutting each other and being compassionate with each other. And maybe she's got a life debt to somebody else. Maybe she's got to take off with her pet human. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, he does obviously get freed later on. The Wookiees do on Kashyyyk and everything, and he kind of, I guess he doesn't owe Han that life debt anymore, or whatever that works out in Aftermath. I can't remember, but I don't know. Any other thoughts on the Wookiee headbutt?
I like this scene. I'm a softie though, and I like her name's Mala, by the way. But
yes,
I think it's correct. I think it's a really touching scene. I don't think I'd want to see them kiss, because I don't see how that would play out, or how you would get
that. We don't listen. We just getting over hand sex in The Last Jedi. Now you want Wookiees making out on screen? Come on, we can't
Lumpy
handle
had to
that
come from somewhere. So
you see, that may be so, but we don't need.
So the Kraken comes up next, right?
You mean space whales?
Whatever.
Because if it's space whales,
the whale Kraken.
If it's space whales, I might just lose my mind, and you both can laugh, because as soon as you see it, you'll laugh. But I don't know. It could be the Kraken. I'm not sure how that's gonna play out. I don't know what this creature is. I'm very curious. Of course, I immediately thought of the like those giant manta things that were in the Clone Wars there, an episode. I think it was season 1, where they're going through the cloud there. So I don't know what it is, but
I'm still hoping it's Abeloth.
I will lose my mind if it is, because I can't stand that character. But we shall see. I got a lot of hate these days, Yep. Anyway. Let's get into one of the...
But this comes up to the next scene is probably my least favorite line I've heard from Alden Ehrenreich in any of the trailers we've had so far, where he's got a good feeling.
Yeah,
he's got a good feeling about it. And the facial expression. This is the one that took me out of it. The rest, I was bought into the rest. I think he's doing a fantastic job. Again, with all the challenges he's got, I think he's doing well. This one, I don't like the line, and yeah, I don't know what the context is. I hope this isn't like the last line of the movie.
No, I don't know. Because it looks like the blue lighting, it looks like he's still in the Kessel Run.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Are they trying to show growth in his character by saying, and then he gets into the whole, I have a bad feeling about this, because he finally learned that it's probably all going to go to bad. It's not going to really go the way he planned. I guess that's maybe what they do. Or this scene might not even be, most of this might not even be in the movie. Who knows? I imagine it will be, because they had all the reshoots and everything. So I don't think they're going to waste whatever. But, of course, then we get the Falcon, a good shot of the Falcon evading the TIE fighters, of course. And I'm curious who's on the gun at this point.
I'm guessing it's Lando.
Yeah, the single cannon gun.
You think it's Lando?
I mean, if it's all tied together, because you got Kira in the cockpit, she's sitting in the co-pilot seat, and then Chewbacca's standing there. And then he comes in and takes her spot. So, I mean, unless it's L3 or somebody, but Or maybe it's Beckett. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we assume he's dead at this point. I think we speculated before. But then again, he was I think in the first trailer, he was there with them, if I remember right. So I don't know. We'll have to piece this together. But I do love this. This was kind of funny, this whole scene. I did like it with 190 years old. And, where did you learn how to pilot or whatever? And he just flips the switches and everything. It's interesting how he just knows the technology and stuff. So who's the real pilot of the Falcon? Well, we mentioned the 3 brains and everything. So apparently, and Chewie flies it by himself, So I don't know. Jonesy, what say you? What do you think?
No, yeah, great line. And yeah, I like that. Chewbacca just starts flipping switches himself and just starts taking over. Yeah, so it kind of puts Han in his place. I like it, keeps him in check, keep that ego in check just a little bit, which I think Chewie got a little shortchanged in some of the other movies, but I like the idea of, he's going to have to take Han under his wing just a little bit.
Well, I always thought Chewie was his conscience. Like he always that's why they went back in A New Hope.
Oh yeah.
Because Chewie's like, give him that look and the sad eyes and everything. He's like, all right, I'll go back. And that's just how he is, and stuff. But Albert, what did you think of this line? Did you like this line?
I loved it. I thought it was great. The humor was great. The delivery was great. You look great kind of thing. He's making he's doing comedy in obviously a pretty tense situation, which I think is very Star Warsy.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was cool that we got a kind of a official date now, because if you think so this would put this movie about 10 years. Is that right?
I think
10 years before
10, 11 years,
before
somewhere around there. Yeah. Yes. Correct.
So yeah, no, I love this scene. I think it's great. Fits well with the movie.
Yeah. And of course, then we get the shot, which we kind of saw before, where the Falcon is getting chased by the Imperial Star Destroyer. And am I looking at it right this time? Is he going towards the Star Destroyer? Like, is he going in reverse? Because before it looked like he was going away. Did he switch back and go towards? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at this again. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It'd be very in character for him too. Being that maverick kind of thing and all that. Maybe he does go at them and to throw them off or whatever. But,
well, he did that before.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember the cloaking device? So maybe that would, because it looks like that's what's going on. And then he flies out. And, of course, then we're on the planet here, which again is where maybe this is at the end of the movie, because you see this here is where the Cloud Gang is. And maybe he goes and maybe they got the package and then this is where he's got to go to get it. I'm not sure, because it looks like the where he was earlier. I don't know. Jonesy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm not. I keep looking at that blade. I jumped. I just had to keep
You're a
jumping
little
straight
ahead
ahead to see that blade. Yeah, it looks like the compound, and yeah, I'm assuming this is the scene we looked at before, where we had the really close up shot of the engines. It looked like a lot of fire, and it looked like the same planet.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this is a flyby after that's done.
Yes. Well, we'll jump into the blade, the knuckles, the brass knuckles with the blade, the vibro blade, I guess you could say, because that's what it looks like. It's very interesting. And of course, when Mr. Wannabe Snoke here, Mr. Voss, slams it down, I think Lando's next to him. Like, if you look real quick.
Oh, I thought that was Han.
It looks like Lando to me, because it looks like there's yellow. Oh, I had it earlier. I can't. It's hard to pin.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
It's hard to see. I'll have to get the image up later on after we record in Discord. But I think it's Lando, because I get the feeling that Lando was working with Kira on this heist, and they were working for this guy. And this is obviously, it doesn't go the way he wanted. And that's, how it goes, because Beckett got. Yeah,
no, I was going to say, actually, I just paused it at 152 and I don't know what frame, but yeah, you almost see like the black and yellow part of Lando's outfit sticking out.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I thought it was Han at first, but I think you're right. It does look like Lando now.
That's kind of how I took it. It happens really, really quick. I don't know, Jonesy, what do you think of my crazy idea? You think that's a possibility?
Yeah, I'm not able to get to that frame, so I can't quite see it.
It's tough. I'll have to send the thing up on Discord and maybe put it up on our Facebook so people know what the heck I'm talking about.
Can we talk about the Sith holocron?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Where, sir?
Pause 152. Look on the right side there.
Let me see.
Well, I'll do the whole music.
That giant thing? Oh, the giant thing there.
Triangle?
The giant. Yeah, I don't know if that is. It looks somewhat like a light, but did they confirm this or not? I don't know.
That's
just you being Albert. is what you're saying. So
it's a Sith holocron, and that's one of the helmets from the movie 300 that's just below that.
Yeah, correct. All that, for what reason, I don't know, but they threw it in there. But
it'd be cool, Jonesy, though, what if he's a collector of things and he just has it? He may not even know what it does. So
it really is Snoke.
Confirmed on the show, Snoke. Yep.
Exactly. So, Steele, I'm sorry. All the evidence is pointing there again. I don't know, Jonesy. What do you say to all this stuff? You can, and I don't think you said anything about the knuckles there, the brass knuckle thing. What do you think?
No, yeah, I had my notes as well. The brass knuckles with the lining up of the viper blades. I mean, that's awesome. It reminds me of the Last Jedi, the Praetorian Guard weapons quite a bit.
Do you mean the double bladed thing that disappears and could have stabbed Rey in the back? That one?
That one. That was a great. That was a great thing. Yeah.
All right.
No, just that general idea, though. I mean, we haven't really seen a vibroblade, in action.
Still haven't really. I mean,
you're right. Yeah. So I'm excited to see this will be the first time where we actually get something that just cuts through metal objects like butter. So
we came close with the Last Jedi, though. There, we were almost there, man. We've almost had it. And of course, the next scene we got some kind of a battle. I don't know what that battle is. I assume this is on Kessel because you got the Mud Troopers here. It looks like the Mud Troopers from what I'm. Yeah, it's definitely the Mud Troopers. Now that I paused it and stuff, and one of them looks like he's got a badass gun. I'll say that.
He's got like a heavy assault.
Yeah, he's like
Gatling type gun. Yeah,
exactly. When I played Battlefront 2, I was the heavy class back in the day there. So, and then we got Chewie slamming this guy down. I assume this is, and I don't think he has his bandoliers right here, Albert. Right? Because this looks like it's one of those early scenes, and he just kind of loses his mind.
Yeah, I think this is when they're like the liberation of the Wookiees at the camp or whatever.
Yeah, I imagine it is. Or he stepped on Chewbacca's toe, and this didn't end well for him.
Mm-hmm.
But that was quite the slam. I'm actually glad we get to see Chewie doing something like this because we didn't get. Because we didn't get. We get that whole. The ripping arms out of the sockets and everything. And of course, we didn't get that with Unka, which would have been great. But I guess it wasn't really needed, and I can kind of see that why JJ cut that and stuff like that. But I'm glad we finally get to see Chewie just unleash and kind of go. Become the mighty Chewbacca that we've kind of fantasized in our heads as kids and stuff like that. But Jonesy, any thoughts on Chewbacca losing his mind?
No, let it roar, baby.
Exactly.
Show us what you got.
Exactly.
I'm excited.
And then, of course, we got Kara again back at the scene. I don't know where this is. This is what's interesting about it because I thought it was on the snowy planet. But no, this has to be early on because she's not wearing the red robes there. So I'm not sure where this takes place per se, and of course, again, there's another shot that's cut to L3, which I don't think they're one and the same because it's a trailer and stuff. But I don't know, Jonesy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm confused too. So it's got to be different places, but the setup of the shot is so similar to the one where she's all dressed up.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm assuming this is still part of the getaway.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but Albert.
Yeah, I would say if you had any concept of a timeline prior to listening to this show, you probably have no concept of timeline now.
Yeah, that's true.
Welcome to a trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Although it's predictable, as I said, and fun. And of course, then we get the end where everyone's thinking this is where Chewie kind of the life debt happens. I disagree. I think it's when he liberates. So. Yeah, I think it's earlier on in the film. Is because he's dangling off the thing here, and I'm looking at this. Jonesy, I don't really have a problem with the costume and the wind blowing and everything else. I guess you get that one image where he kind of looks like a
Muppet.
When he looks, when he looks at the thing directly,
maybe it looks like something like a weird science kind of movie, like where you would see one of those geeky moments where I don't think it looks that bad because it's a quick second. I don't know.
It kind of looks like a hipster.
I like him with the
Wookiee.
Goggles. Yeah, I can see
got
that.
The frames and the glasses,
and even like where his beard and mustaches looks kind of trimmed now. Like he's definitely gone like a different route. I don't know. I don't really have a problem with it. I think it's okay. Obviously, Chewie's
hair is like swept over like he's in a boy band.
That's what I mean.
Harry Styles or someone. I mean, it's got this windswept look over it.
It's got one of those like something.
His muzzle is so pronounced in this one with the goggles.
Harry Styles. I see what you did there.
Oh, that's funny. That's real cute. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think it was pretty good. But I don't know. Let's get into our final thoughts, predictions, and whatever else. Do we have anything else? No, because it ends after that with Solo and all that other stuff, and then it says May 25th. I am still surprised that the tickets didn't go on sale because I thought that would have been a thing. But in any case, I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your final thoughts? Obviously, I think we all like the trailer, as you can tell. We usually do with these Star Wars trailers. But I'll throw it to you, Albert. What say you? What do you think? I got to stop saying that.
What say you?
I know. I can't stop myself once I get going. But go ahead.
I'm excited. I threw that in Discord today. It said I won't say what I put in Discord, but I'm pretty excited.
It was very vulgar.
Yeah.
No, I'm only kidding.
I'm pretty excited about the trailer. I think they've done another good job with the trailer. I think that's what Disney does well. If nothing else, they do a really good job of creating, hype, marketing, putting trailers together, really getting you to go in and kind of see it. There's a ton of stuff in here that I think that, when we finally get a chance to watch it and start breaking it down in some of the episodes, I think we've got a lot of content to get into. There's obviously a lot of things that they could build upon if they really wanted to keep spinning this thing off and doing other, side movies and that kind of thing. So overall, pretty happy with the trailer and excited. I'm ready for May 25th. It seems forever now.
Oh, yeah. Jonesy?
Yeah, I have absolutely not looked at Solo stuff until the last 2 weeks for the most part. And because it was really not interesting to me for the most part, which is really odd to say because I'm so into Star Wars, but this has really got me amped up. I'm actually pretty excited about it. Like Albert said, it's a really well done trailer, a lot of dark scenes. So there's a lot of nuances that we're not able to really gather in these really quick cuts, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think Alden seems to be, I'm buying in because I'm going to give him a lot of slack too, because this is really hard to step into these shoes. And so people have got to give him some slack there. And I think if they give him a chance, I think it looks like he's going to deliver for the most part. And same with Donald Glover. I think, if he gets 80%, man, I'm on board and he's doing great. If he does anything above that, then that's icing on the cake for me. But the thing I'm curious about is how much character development are we going to get from all of these ancillary characters? So are we going to get, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the gang leader's name, Albert. There, Infus Nest. There you go. I want to call it Eufy's. I have a Eufy genie. I want to call everything like a Eufy's Nest. So anyway, Infy's Nest. Are we actually going to get any development from there? We were talking a little bit about on Discord about what that background might be in those relationships. And so I'm curious to see where that spins to, and then how much of Beckett we get, how much of Kira. There are a lot of characters to get to in a 2-hour movie. So how much are we going to get of each one to see if we get that build up and that payoff? I'm concerned like Val's going to be a totally secondary character that we're not going to get a whole lot from, and maybe that's okay, but maybe it's not. But these are these things, you get these big ensembles with characters you don't know anything about, and then they get completely glossed over. Then you feel like you got a little bit cheated out of it. So I'm hoping we get a little bit more from them in the story department, and it's not just kind of breakneck pace the entire time. I'm okay with breakneck pace, but I want to learn a little bit more about these characters too. So I hope they pay off and deliver that. And that's where I'm a little concerned about the change in directors and strategy on the movie, because that's really hard to try to recapture even with a massive number of reshoots. So, but overall, really excited. Fantastic trailer. It got me amped up. I polled some people at work and they were all amped up about it too, where they didn't care before. So I think it's doing the job for the folks that were on the fence.
Yeah. See, I don't think we're going to get a lot of character development. I think because it's a heist movie and it's almost like, well, maybe you might get a little Ocean's 11 there where you kind of know a bit more with maybe the main like Lando, Chewie, Han, Kira, and maybe a bit of Beckett. But everyone else, I think, is kind of, you're going to get a little bit, but not enough to maybe the next, if they do another one, you'll get more on that. But I can't.
And I'm okay with mystery. Yeah. I'm okay with mystery on some of these, but give me enough to where I care.
Yeah.
Because some of the movies that, when I think of like Suicide Squad, right? I mean, totally off topic, but when I think of that movie, the harshest thing I could say about that movie is I just did not care about any single character, and so I mean, that's when you have failed at a movie, when you absolutely care zero about anything that happens to any one of the characters. And so I just want this to feel like we got to learn something. So if something happens to Beckett, that it actually has this, this weight to it, that we've felt in some of these movies, even if you don't have to bog the movie down with it, but you get that flavor of it. They have these relationships and they actually mean something. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't think we need a lot on Han per se, because we've seen where he's gone. So it's hard to say. It'll be interesting how they do it. So I think with Lando maybe and Beckett and Kira and stuff, maybe a little bit more. And I think maybe more of a Chewie and a Han's dynamic and how that works. Maybe that'll be where they go with it. And I think that'll be interesting. And I already like their dynamic. And again, I will emphasize what you did, Jonesy, and what we've said throughout the show and even prior to is we need to separate Donald Glover and Alden from Harrison and Billy D and realize that this is going to be their take on those characters. I think they got the mannerisms down, but as far as speech goes, you got to get it out of your mind. It's not going to sound like Harrison. It's not going to, you know what I mean? It's not exactly the same. You just got to, I think if you can separate that, and it's going to be hard, it's going to be even hard for me. So you don't even know if I'm sold on it. I think we'll be okay. It looks fun and predictable, as I said before, which is a good thing. I think we kind of need that in Star Wars. We need a little bit of fun and predictability and kind of just have a good film and enjoy it for what it is and get a little bit more to our characters that we love. I do have a question for you guys, though. I'd like to get your take.
Yeah. So something that since the prequels, we've had these very clean images of the movies. And so I don't mean like digital versus film grainy. Well, actually, yeah, I do. So in the prequels, you could justify the kind of the pristine look of the picture because it was kind of a shinier world than we did with the original trilogy. But even with the lived in type of atmosphere, they're getting the environments right, but the very pristine image quality of our newer technology is that I'm starting to have a little bit. Someone mentioned it to me a few days ago. And the more I thought about it and I started looking at the trailers, I really started to notice that a lot more. It was always kind of subconsciously there, but I'm wondering if that's changing and that's some of the frustration or the issues that some folks are having where it may not feel like Star Wars, quote unquote. Do you guys get that feeling that just the image quality is so good that it's not feeling as lived in, even though they're totally getting the environments and the practical effects and things like that, right?
I could see the being people having that kind of reaction or a kind of feeling with it. Me personally, it doesn't bother me one way or another. I think it's fine, but I can see what you're saying. Maybe the images are too crisp, so to speak, and it's like you see every detail where before it was kind of, you could see things like it was clear and everything, but the background, the background stuff was a little blurred, and you didn't see every little detail. Now it looks like you can see just about everything. I don't know. That's an interesting take on things, but for me, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't bother me either. But I agree with Mike. I can see where people would look at these movies and the quality of the movies today, and maybe it feels a little jarring, or there's a bit of disconnect there, trying to tie them all together. But I don't know. Maybe it's just an age thing too, or maybe it's just if you watch a lot of old movies, that's the feedback I always hear from people is like, oh, I don't really like watching black and white movies. I don't like watching movies in the 50s or in the 60s or even in the 70s to some extent because the quality isn't as good or it's a little grainy or it's a little blurry. And I totally get that because when you go back and even you look at A New Hope, even with all the remastering that they've done to that, there are moments and scenes in that where you're like, okay, now that I've seen Rogue One or The Last Jedi, it's like I'm supposed to kind of tie those two worlds together, and they are kind of disjoined a little bit in terms of the quality. But for me personally, I don't really focus too much on that. I'm more, I guess, into the storyline and the characters, and knowing that we're talking about 40 years of technology that kind of separate where we are today from where it all started. And I guess it's just putting that into context as you watch that stuff and not letting it pull you out of that third dimension or the fourth dimension kind of thing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I was just curious. It was an interesting view on it, I guess, and I just wanted to get you all take on it. I think it's legit,
though, honestly. I mean, I get it. I totally get it. Because my kids, honestly, my kids feel the same way all the time when I try to make them watch an older movie. They're like, oh, Dad, it looks, looks kind of crappy. Yeah. And I'm like, shut up, watch E.T. You're going to love it.
Back in my day, you had no choice. But, in any case, all right. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you guys for joining us and stuff. It's been fun. And like I said, we won't have an episode next week because this is going to be a two for this week. Next week we'll be off. There will be no episode, but there will be a following episode on the 24th, I think, that week or whatever it is. But in any case, thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys soon. You're still listening? Wow, that's amazing. Well, I'm here to give you the disclaimer. Normally we do a big, long, drawn-out disclaimer thing saying what's what and who's what and all that other stuff, but I think you guys kind of know that Lucasfilm and Disney have no affiliation with us at all, and we have none with them. We talk about Star Wars, which is their property, and all that other good fun stuff. But I think you can tell which is our stuff and which is their stuff. If you can't, well, then send a lawyer to send an email to me, and I'll be glad to chat with them. Other than that, you know what's what. So that's your disclaimer.